Hello. The time has finally come for me to show you the face behind the voice.
Only joking. No, I'm just an actor that Moomin has asked to lip sync for him. I do know what he looks like, but that is a secret I'm going to be taken to the grave.
Indeed, a face reveal is still a way off. Goodness, I'm so mischievous. Hardcore fans of the channel should know that wasn't me. And I'll tell you what, first person to comment who that man was gets early access to next week's video. Anyway, let's get on with today's video. Last week, the incredible Poetry Slam 78 added this mind-blowing hammer swing to the park, whilst I built a row of shops with a big old boat on the roof. This week, I'm going to be creating a ride skin for what is probably the most unskinnable ride in the game. And just like that, the pirate ship is themed. Just kidding, that was a joke. Commentary, if you will. Satire. I began by wrapping the ride foundation in wooden balcony pieces. If you've seen my How to Be Good at Planet Coaster video, you will have seen me doing this very thing. I explain how a key part of creating high quality builds consists of covering up as much of the default Planco assets as you can. I wanted to have an interior queue for the ride, so began work on a beach hut style build. I originally went with a painted wood, but later decided I hated it and changed it to natural wood. I flipped the pieces for the upper level and repeated, leaving a couple of spaces for windows. I added a nice trim to blend the two levels using wooden pillars. I used the same pieces to frame the window. Using wooden columns, and get ready for this, added more trims. Making a start on the interior, I filled in this space with a wooden shelf. I covered the default queue path with wooden barn doors. Taking direct inspiration from Poet's queue from last week, I used the rope fences for some partitions. A few more columns hide the standard queue curbs. With the shelf done, I cluttered it with some pirate-themed items. To stop silly folk from falling out of the window, I added some taut rope. With the bulk of the build done, I added various wall decorations and scenery. The queue post said some nasty things about me, so I wrapped them in wooden planks and brackets, never to be seen again. I used corrugated metal for the roof, but had to use multiple building groups to line it up properly. Next, I added some support to our roof using wooden pillars. Everyone needs some support from time to time. I simply couldn't stop myself from theming even further. Hopping over to the exit side, I created a similar but more simplistic build. Whilst I build this, can we just take a second to appreciate the incredible talent we've seen in both this series and Little Rock Ridge. The list of creators is phenomenal, with Yura, Plastic Swans, Nerdchacho, Combat Wombat, Sublines, Wix, Furana, Christine, Paulsley, Zelixor, SC Reconcile, FSF Ranger, Zipperku, Coastercad, Solaris, Starport 55, Poetry Slam 78, Johnny 5 Alive, and Wormgar. You show me a better Planet Coaster lineup than that. You might be surprised to hear this, but I'm adding trims again. Once again, I created another shelf, but this one is bigger, so I added more things to it. For the other side, I created some barrel storage, similar to that over by the top spin. A bit of exterior detailing before we shove a lid on top. I bridged the gap with some columns, fences and foliage. For the backdrop to the ride, I directly stole, once again, from Poet's Hammerswing skin. What? It's a compliment. I went with some stilted beach huts giving pirate shantytown vibes. With this side being the tallest and most precarious, I wanted to give it a sturdy base, so I built a basic hut. This might also double up as a maintenance shed for the ride. With the base in place, I gave the hut some legs using poles. For a bit of extra support, I connected the structure to the ride itself. For the other side, I gave it a platform base using decking and more columns. To connect the two, I created a rickety walkway using scaffolding and planks. A few rogue planks and additional pirate theming finished this side off nicely. To avoid children running straight at this pirate ship like me towards a dirty martini, I felt it best to fence off the area. I used western fencing because I'm clearly unstable. A few more bits of theming clutter this area up nicely. Finally, I tidied everything up with a bit of terrain paint. After featuring on 3 separate videos already, Nerdchacho is the most featured human on my channel, and for good reason. His parks are some of the best I've ever seen, and the fact he has real-world theme park experience only furthers this man's talent. In Little Rock Ridge, Nerdchacho built and themed our incredible B&M Flawless, and now he's back with a B&M INVERT. It would seem he has an obsession. Without further ado, here he is to present his creation.
Oh, hello you lot, it's been a while, how you doing? So, it's another Moomin collab series and he's invited the best of the best to help with this one, but quite why I'm here I don't know, but hey, we are where we are and you're stuck with me. So another no TMTK park you say? Yes, I am in. Viewers of my other series will already know that I love the pirate theme and this is a pirate park. What a result. And as you already know from Little Rock Ridge, I had the other plot, but this time I've got to work with a new plot, and I can't just do a Merlin and recycle the existing hardware and call it new. But what I can do is do a Chacho and rip off another park, and this time I'm gunning for Gronerland. Now I wanted to do a different coaster, but the El Loco was already in the park, a Eurofighter was already out the question. Now what other compact coasters are there? Well, the next idea I had was to do a Bermuda Blitz using the Pioneer coaster type and then swapping out the trains, but that station is far too big for the plot of land, and all of the other decent coasters are all DLC, so I settled on an invert. Monster at Gronerland is the perfect example of a compact modern invert. Now the station is buried underneath the ground in that coaster, and the lift hill is steep shape. The first drop is tight, the inversions pack a punch, and using the new shape B&M track, this is exactly what I wanted this one to be. So I also wanted to pack as many inversions as I could into this layout, and the only way I could do that was to have the track running in and out, over and under, and then around. And the beauty of inverts is that you can have track running tightly under any inversion, and you've got plenty of opportunities to escape the corners that you back yourself into. Perfect! Now, the overall theme I went for was Harbour Pirate. It's got lots of stucco and it feels like a fort, and the final brake run borrows quite a lot from Vampire at Chessington in the sense that it's a slightly Dark Ride inspired end, and it makes sure that that coaster still delivers even after it's over. The tight inversions that I've built here and the fast pace needed killing off at the end, so you've got that raised hillocks that does that perfect. Something that Monster also does really, really well. Now, for this build, I wanted to focus on the realism that you guys absolutely enjoy, and that's why there's that maintenance area. You've got the usual catwalk clutter, and there's also that simplistic design as well. I've had a preview, by the way, of some of the things that are coming, and you definitely want to stick around for them because this cohort have got a way better imagination than I do. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for putting up with me yet again. But like I say, don't know why I'm even here, but I absolutely loved doing it. We should do this more often. Now, thanks for inviting me, Moomin. Your crew are just as awesome as well. Have fun, you guys. Speak to you soon.
I was concerned as to what could be achieved in such a small space, but Nerdchacho did not disappoint. A fantastic coaster and welcome addition to the skyline. Next week, the one and only Johnny 5 Alive adds the final flat ride to the park. See you then.